All right, Algebra crew, we are starting chapter 11. All right, chapter 11 is all about rational expressions and functions. All right, section 11.1, we are simplifying rational expressions. These can get kind of tricky. This first section actually I think is pretty easy, but as the chapter goes on, it can get a little tricky. So make sure you're keeping up with everything. We're in the last few weeks of the school year. All right, we got to finish up strong. Keep those grades up. All right. So a rational expression is just simply a polynomial over a polynomial. Okay, any polynomial over a polynomial. So when we are simplifying these, all right, we're looking to factor, and that's what we've been doing for a lot of the last, half of our school year. All right, we've been simplifying, we've been, multiplying, we've been factoring. It's just a continuation of that. Okay, so I'm going to do the first few questions. All right, we're going to take a look at those, and you'll see they're fairly simple. Okay, the first one that I wanted to look at, we have 3x plus 9. Okay, and x plus 3. You can already kind of see where this problem is going. All right, you can already see where this problem is going because look immediately at what we can take out, all right, of our numerator. We can factor a 3 out of the numerator, which leaves us with x plus 3, like that. All right? You can't just cancel this 3 out of here or, and then like cross those two out. All right? Because they're separated by a plus sign. We have plus signs. You need the entire term, which is x plus 3, to be canceled with something, preferably x plus 3, which is why we had to factor the numerator first. So you can now see with this problem, we can factor, or we can cancel x plus 3 and x plus 3, and we're just left with a 3 in the numerator. All right? So our answer is 3. All right? So we also, now, and this is, make sure you read, all right, what is supposed to be happening. There are certain things called excluded values, all right? Excluded values. And just like any numerical fraction, a rational expression is undefined when the denominator is 0, okay? When the denominator is 0. So a value of the variable for which a rational expression is undefined, that is called your excluded values, all right? So what we need to say here in this problem is that, yes, your answer is 3, all right? X cannot equal what? A negative 3. And if you can't easily see that, all right? You can't easily see that x can't be negative 3, all right? Well, you take your denominator and set it equal to 0. X equals negative 3. That's your no-no. X cannot be negative 3 because that's when it equals 0, all right? So you can do it that way as well if it's not easily defined, okay? Let's take a look at number 2, all right? I'm going to use my fancy pink pen here. All right, my daughter wanted me to use more pink and purple in my notes, so this problem says 5 minus x which is an interesting way. Like immediately what my head is going through right now, what I'm thinking to myself is, that's an interesting way to write a polynomial. 5 minus x instead of x minus 5. I need to be careful with that, okay? And then in the denominator, we have x squared minus 2x minus 15. Well, what have we been doing in the past? All right, we need to factor this quadratic. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to say 5 minus x. Once again, that looks weird to me. All right, I don't like how that looks. All right, and I'm going to factor the denominator. All right, so multiples that give you a negative 15, they'll also give you a negative 2. Well, that's going to be a negative 5 and a positive 3, right? So we can already kind of see what our excluded values are going to be, all right? Because if this is 0 or if this is 0, then the whole denominator goes to 0. So let's keep that in mind there, all right? But I can't just cancel the numerator, this 5 minus x. I can't just cancel that with this because it's not the exact same. Up here we have a positive 5. Down here we have a negative 5. So what am I going to do to the numerator? I am going to factor out a negative. So now this in the numerator becomes a negative 5 and a positive x. Now I can cancel this. But with my answer, sorry, just got to stick with the pink here. My answer is going to be negative 1 over x plus 3. All right, because I had to pull that negative out, so the negative is going to stay there. It's going to follow. And then what are my excluded values? Well, I come back to my original problem, which is over here. That doesn't look nice to me. After I factor it, that's what I'm going to look at. Well, x minus 5, that cannot be 0. And x plus 3 cannot be 0. So if I add 5 to both sides, and for some people, you might have been able to see this right away. I'm just doing this. So x cannot equal 5. All right, and x cannot equal a negative 3. So here's the answer, but you also need your excluded values. All right, you'll see that like on a quiz or something. All right, so those were the first two problems. All right, and now if you take a look at a problem, let's just say, well, like look at number 8. Number 8, there are no variables in the denominator. So are you going to have any excluded values for number 8? No, there's no excluded values for number 8. But as I look through every single one of these problems all the way through number 28, it looks like every other problem is probably going to have an excluded value somewhere because there is a variable in the denominator. All right? So just be careful. All right, and if you have any questions, let me know. But this section's pretty simple. You're just factoring and then canceling things out. All right, so that's all. That's basically all you're doing. Have a great day. Stay healthy.